On January 19, 2026, the United States observed Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a federal holiday honoring the life and legacy of Dr. King, the civil rights leader whose work helped end segregation and expand voting rights in America. But this year's observance was marked not by early presidential recognition, as has been customary, but by delay, controversy, and political pushback. President Donald J. Trump ultimately issued an official proclamation recognizing Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but only late in the evening of the holiday itself, after significant public criticism. For decades, presidents have issued such proclamations before the holiday to honor King's legacy. But on Monday, Trump broke with that tradition by waiting until hours after the day's events had begun. In the signed proclamation, Trump praised Dr. King's commitment to justice and called on Americans to recommit to his principles, framing King's legacy in the context of national unity and service. The proclamation referenced Dr. King's historic advocacy for freedom and justice and urged citizens to engage in community service. Unlike most modern presidents, Trump did not attend any official MLK Day commemorations this year. Instead, he spent the holiday at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida and later traveled to attend the college football playoff national championship in Miami. For much of the day, his and the White House's social media accounts focused on other topics, like immigration enforcement and claims about election integrity, rather than the holiday. The Independent. Critics noted that this lack of early public acknowledgement and absence from commemorative events marked a significant departure from tradition, including his own actions in prior years, when he issued proclamations during his first term. Civil rights organizations, including the NAACP, publicly criticized the administration's delay and tone, arguing that failing to recognize the holiday until late in the day was disrespectful to King's memory. Some advocates noted the focus in Trump's proclamation on law and order and national heritage, rather than highlighting ongoing struggles against racial injustice. King's daughter, Bernice King, also responded to the holiday in her own way, urging Americans to remember her father's message by advocating against state-sanctioned violence and inequality for Black and brown communities. The controversy over Trump's handling of MLK Day in the United States fits into a wider and more fraught political context. Events and marches were held across the country not just in celebration of King's legacy, but also as protests against contemporary issues such as aggressive immigration enforcement and racial disparities. Civil rights leaders used the holiday to call for renewed activism and resistance to policies they viewed as contradicting King's vision of equality and justice. Critics of the administration also pointed to recent policy changes, such as the removal of Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth from the list of fee-free days at U.S. national parks, as part of a broader shift away from traditional civil rights acknowledgments at the federal level. While the official text reaffirmed King's contributions to American society and his central place in the struggle for justice, it also framed his legacy in terms of national principles like liberty and equal justice, and emphasized service to community and nation. The document did not address earlier criticism about racial inequality or systemic discrimination in the United States. This year's Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the United States was marked by unusual presidential timing and political tension. President Trump's delayed proclamation, coming after public criticism rather than before the holiday, broke with long-standing presidential tradition and triggered robust response from civil rights groups, activists, and members of King's own family. At the same time, nationwide events reflected both celebration of King's enduring legacy and active engagement with ongoing struggles for justice, equity, and inclusion.